guys have traveled the country for 10 years. You've gone from Maine to Hawaii, speaking to students and parents and teachers about this program. So with the bully part, tell me each, I want to hear one quick story of someone that you've asked who their bully was, or who their 16th century bully was. Just one person, could be an adult or a child, that stood up and said, this was life-altering for me. And how impactful is that? Do they remember the name of this person, or do they say there was some kid in 7th grade? Or how specific can they get, and how impactful can they get?
Well, I can tell you in the 21 years I've been teaching and coaching in physical education, it's the most social, emotional environment in a school. And I mean, I can think of multiple examples of someone carrying hope for someone else. There's a young lady right now that's in college that, just about 7 years ago when she was in middle school, she was struggling quite intensely. And all it was this one boy, his name was Jacob, his action of taking her arm during a square dance unit that we were doing, which can be quite uncomfortable for middle school age boys and girls to partner. Jacob took her arm and partnered with her before anyone else had partnered in the entire class. So for him to target and identify her as someone who would need a sweetheart in that moment was quite powerful. So that sticks with me as probably one of my greatest sweetheart moments that I've seen unfold in front of my eyes.
And I've told that story to many, many educators over the years. And Mary was not the one that was getting picked first. She was probably the one that was getting picked last. And I think that's what made it such a special moment for Jason. It was a young man that he was training to give hope to other people and take action. And he defied the odds because he was the kid that was, the popular one, the one that was going to be the quarterback. And he defied the odds, and because he had been trained to give hope and to take action. Great man, my mind just explodes with all of these thoughts. But just 2 months ago, our partner Rick Yarish, who speaks on stage with us, and I were at a school, and this young lady, her hands were shaking, and the tears just ran down her face in front of Rick and I. And there was a young man who was extremely popular in one of her classes, and she had been placed in like an AP advanced level class, and she didn't really feel like she was smart enough to be in the class. And there was a young man who was literally one of the top athletes in the school and smart, had everything going for him. And she would fit the same profile that Mary fit. And oh man, I can close my eyes and think about her just laying this story out to Rick and I, and just talking about this young man that after a presentation that they saw of ours, gave him the courage to just walk up and ask her a question when she was crying in class and struggling. And she hadn't talked to him about it, but she said it changed my life forever. That one moment of this young man coming over, jumping into action and becoming really her sweetheart.
And Mary feels the same way about what happened in 7th grade when she reflects back upon that. That was what, 7 years ago for her when she...
Yeah, and if you do the math, we've been in existence for about 10. So for me, the milestone was Jacob and teaching me that it is possible to inject or instill empathy into, a middle school age kid, where you could almost argue empathy is not age appropriate for a middle school kid. Mm-hmm. But I think it can be taught, and most teachers will agree with that. You can teach kids. And it would just prove to me that it was possible, and create a social norm or a social expectation where kids can be kind to other kids.